Hi there, and good evening, and welcome to my website. I just wanted to do a quick video to kind of talk about something that has been on my mind as it relates to working in recovery, working with people who are in recovery, sitting in counsel with people who are in recovery. There are many different reasons people struggle with recovery. They're struggling with substance use. It's just a whole complex uh, issue people are just dealing with. And a lot of us don't really understand the struggle that these people are going through. And so this is just kind of an informal. And for me, one of the things that I see people dealing with is the idea of being patient with themselves, patient with their recovery program, patient with dealing with the complex issues that they're dealing with in life. And so I just kind of wanted to talk about that and get your feedback. You're welcome to comment, ask questions, and engage because this is really important. Uh, because patience is a huge deal. And so for people who are coming in recovery, the thing that I'm hearing, the thing that the things that I'm seeing, both in my office and in various online communities that I belong to where people are in recovery for various reasons, is the whole idea of there's a lack of patience. And I think there's a lack of patience with ourselves to the point that the reason there's a lack of patience is because there's a lack of trust, a lack of confidence. It is the lack of our ability to process through, to go through the experience that we go through. And the challenge is for those of you who know you're in recovery and you've dealt with the withdrawal symptoms, you've dealt with the sickness, it's not a fun place to be. It is not a fun place to be. It's hard, it's difficult, and you just want the pain, you want the suffering, the discomfort to end. And a lot of people end up going back to using because they in that moment are so discomfort, so much in turmoil, so much in pain that they've tried to go as long as they can. And so how do we respond to that? How do we respond to individuals who are struggling to move past the stage of withdrawal, to manage their withdrawals, and I think it comes down to just being patient and trusting in the system and trusting in the process. And the most harmful thing that a person may be able to say to somebody who is just in that trench of discomfort, in that trench of withdrawals, in that trench of illness. Their body is sick, their body hurts, their mind is steamrolling with thoughts after thoughts after thoughts that are not good, that are not healthy, and they're just in distress. And the worst things that we can say to them is, it'll pass. And yes, it's true. The discomfort's going to pass. Yes, it's true. They're not going to experience that the longer they move away from their substance use. In that moment, though, you're hurting. You're just despondent. And it's not a fun place to be. And so how do you sit and be patient with yourself? And I think this is why in the rooms, in the recovery support rooms, especially those that are 12-step based, Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, Cocaine Anonymous, and all of those meetings, when they say take it one day at a time, take it one moment at a time, they're not being facetious, because you have to break it down moment by moment, minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day. And just, this is the time I have right now. This is the moment I have right now. And to manage through that moment and manage through that for just that moment. And that's what the discomfort is it's just that moment. And so sitting with people, one thing that I've learned in helping them through that process is getting them to focus on not the discomfort, not the pain, helping them focus on where they're at right now. Okay, it's good you didn't use in the last couple days. So I know, I'm not going to ask how you feel, because that's just, kind of a Captain Obvious question. More appropriately, I'm probably going to ask, hey, it's been a couple days since you last used. That's great. You've got 2 days under your belt. And what is your strategy to continue to go another day, to go one more day? We're on day 3, to go one more day with that. What support do you need? What help do you need? And letting them guide the conversation, and not put on them the unrealistic expectation that they're going to get better in that moment, because they're not going to get better in that moment. They are sick, they are despondent, they are just not feeling good, and their whole body aches, and their whole mind aches, their heart aches, and they just feel so overwhelmed with a lot of intensity and a lot of burden. And the last thing we want to do is add on a little bit more onto that. Say, come on, you can do it, I guess the best thing I can equate this to is just, you gotta just put put one foot right in front of the other, and just keep moving and keep moving. If you fall, pick yourself back up, dust yourself back off. You're still moving and you're still progressing. And so I think a lot of times, even as individuals, we beat ourselves up, and we're not patient with ourselves, even when we fall down, even when we slip up, even when we crash and burn. All we got to do is just pick ourselves back up and brush ourselves off. We don't go back to the starting line and start all over again. I think a lot of that has done a lot of harm too, is that, oh, you're starting over. No, we start right where we're at, and we then move forward. Okay, we had a slip up, we move forward. We had a setback, we move forward. And we're patient in those times and in those moments. We continue to strive, we continue to move forward. And I think when it comes to slipping up and falling down, even when we fall flat on our face, we just pick ourselves back up and brush ourselves off, like I said. And those who are helping people, we don't sit there and laugh at them. We don't sit there and condemn them. We don't sit there and judge them. We don't sit there and just say, you fool, you idiot, you should have known better. You should have not, you woulda, if you could have. We're just shaming them, and we're guilting them for falling down. What do we do when we see somebody who falls down? We go and we pick them up, say, hey, you got this. Hey, come on, let's go. We come alongside them, we help, we lift them up where they're at. We don't deride them, and we're patient with them. And when they fall down, we pick them up again and we help them until we cross that finish line. And I think, on the one hand, people in recovery are very impatient with themselves. They're impatient with the process. They're impatient with the healing process. There's no easy way to go through recovery. It is a very, very hard road, and it is your own personal journey. And people who are sitting on the outside, who are your allies, who are your support, sometimes they mean well, sometimes they mean well, goodwill. Yet, we sitting on the outside tend to do more harm by pointing, scoffing, laughing, mocking, instead of being that support system and being patient with them, instead of asking them to be patient with us and meeting them where they're at instead of expecting them to meet us where we are at, because we may be at the finish line, yelling at them to cross the finish line. Well, we need to run from the finish line to where they're at and cheer them along the way. And when they fall down, pick them back up. Pick them up, lift them up, and help them, encourage them. Say, hey, it's just a slip up. Hey, yeah, you fell down. Yeah, it hurts. Being empathetic instead of sympathetic towards them. And meeting their needs without enabling them. We can't take away their pain. We can't take away their suffering. We can't take away their distress. We can sit with them in that. Sometimes sitting with them means to sit with them in silence and letting them know we're there. Hey. So, for what it is, we've got to be patient. For those who are in recovery, be patient with yourself. Take each moment for what it is. And don't run too fast. Pace yourself. Because recovery is yours. Own it. Belong to it. Experience it for what it is. Because when you do get through, and when you start being patient with yourself, when you start trusting into yourself, just trusting into the process, trusting into the growth that comes, trusting in the reality that you're not alone, then your recovery becomes that much more meaningful. And as a Christian, from a Christian perspective, from a biblical perspective, we have Jesus Christ, who is our Savior. He's there lifting us up. He's there not mocking us. He's not there to condemn us. He's there to lift us up, to encourage us, to guide us, to forgive us. And so, like I said, I just had this on my heart, had this on my mind. I think probably one of the hindrances and the barriers to people's recovery is the lack of patience with themselves and those who are supporting people who are encouraging people to get help, to seek help, are also just as impatient because they want that quick fix. They want that guarantee. They want that satisfaction. I remember I'm getting a phone call from a father very concerned about his young adult's child, and being asked, and not on this one occasion, but on several occasions, especially with young adults who are dealing with substance use disorder and they're in recovering treatment, can you guarantee me that you'll fix him? I'm like, no, I can't fix them. I'm not going to guarantee something I am not capable of doing. I'm not there to fix people as a counselor. I'm not there to fix people as a therapist. I'm there to help guide people to find their own way, to find their own motivation, their own commitment to their recovery, and to help them along the way in a very safe and therapeutic situation, allowing them to be the vulnerable person they need to be, to confide in, to talk with. And sometimes it's talking them off that ledge. Sometimes just sitting and listening to them. And sometimes, they're bringing heavy stuff into the session. And they're venting because they have nobody else to vent to. And as a counselor, one of the greatest things I had to learn is to be patient with my patients. And so, if you're in recovery, you're a warrior. It's a fight. It is a battle. And each morning you put on your armor. And each morning you go out and you struggle and you come home and you're just tired and you're just exhausted. Just remember, every day you conquer your substance use disorder. Every day you conquer those fears. And that makes you a warrior. And warriors have to be patient. They have to fight through even the most despondent and struggling issues. So I encourage you, just be patient And those who are helping people who are in recovery, be patient with them as well. Thank you, and have a good night.